the YouTube's on.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, and I'm gonna just make you the host right now. Let's see, how does it go again?
Okay, shall I do something with it that I'm?
I think it'll ask you to accept it. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Something.
I don't see anything. No, you're a host now.
Okay, good. All right, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So shall I pin myself? Yeah, I'm pinning my, just, yeah, if something doesn't mute. Okay, thank you so much. Just putting my presentation. Okay. Welcome to everyone, and I'm sorry for the slight delay. I have made my prayers in advance because we are already like long after the time. So I have chosen today this topic on impediments on the devotional path because this is something which is very interesting to me. Mostly, I think that after the initial enthusiasm and everything which goes with it, one actually needs to know what are the phases through which a sadhaka is passing through, because otherwise one can very easily become very disheartened. And it's actually, the more one is knowing these specifics and has a real knowledge about it, it's much easier to recognize, to navigate through the path, etc. I found very interesting several articles from Dulal Chandra Prabhu, and I liked it so much, and his sharing is so beautiful. So I have structured the presentation on his articles. So I will be reading his thoughts because they're just perfectly done, and just I will comment from time to time. And of course, you can also join if somebody wants to comment or ask or just discuss, share something. So he's saying the following. The architects of our spiritual tradition have, through concerted teachings, carefully shown the roadmap we traverse on the journey to spiritual perfection. Therefore, one is it's from Bhakti Samrita Sindhu. It's given a verse. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. So, Guru Maharaj recently commented, has been asked a question on one of the QAs, and he explained that humility, I like this quote, that humility means to accept what is good and to actually follow the good advice. Otherwise, not following the good advice actually is showing no humility. So this understanding of what humility means has given me completely new view, new perspective, because humility usually is considered like, you have no pride, you're like very quiet, humble, you don't self-impose yourself, not show off, etc. But real humility is actually to apply this. Otherwise, like, your mind continues to whimsically choose and jump between like what the mind wants. So he's going to saying about these 6 stages where through which we pass in Anishta Bhajana Kriya. So unstable devotional practice. So he's saying that the 6 psychological roadblocks of Anishta Bhajana Kriya are extensions of our enjoying ego, strongly influenced by passion and ignorance, carried forward into our spiritual practice. The realignment of our desires and values from served to servant foster the stages that present themselves as early obstacles to pure bhakti. I remember like very much the first years, which can continue for decades, I guess, are connected to feel like very, say, you just continue with the same material mentality and the so-called spiritual Olympics, trying to gain some success, to have results, fast results, and feeling like advancing. And here, I like very much the deep analysis that actually we just bring the same material mentality, just projecting into the new platform, but it doesn't work like that. No, we have here to do so deep change and erase so many, like this is exactly what anartha, no, unvaluable, not valuable things we have to remove and put the artha, the valuable ones. So it is said that comprehensive knowledge and thoughtful contemplation on these mentalities and their potential negative influence on our devotional service will result in steady progress based upon realistic expectations. So the first stage, of course, is utsahamai. This is the enthusiasm. He calls it enthusiasm in prideful practice. I like this part as well very much because he explains here how utsahamai, this stage is it's compared to a rocket which is going into the space, and you have seen how the rockets like starts. It has these additional engines supporting, like I think 2 or 4, I don't know how many exactly, and they start and they carry the rocket, bring it more and more up, and then at some point they fall off, and then it has to continue on its own with its own speed. So it is explained exactly that it is absolutely important to have this stage. So the importance here is that all the stages, these immature stages through which we go, they are super significant. Although it's like a failure, so to say, but they show exactly, they bring us closer to the real bhakti. Like it's not just, it is not a failure. It is something you have to go through, all these so-called failures, instability, immaturity, etc., because this will practically shape you from inside. No, these are like different layers you need to go through, and when you're more informed, you'll be able to recognize the symptoms you have, and also to understand that this is completely natural and this is how it should be. And this is also, although it feels like a failure, it actually brings you closer now if you continue following. So this prideful practice, I recently asked Guru Maharaj on a Q&A that I asked him, because in the beginning exactly you feel like a good devotee, you feel like you want to show off, etc. But the problem is that after some time, you become bored of this, of course, and you start to want to have the real thing. First, you realize, or I have realized, it's a lack of taste, because in the beginning, somehow the desire to do things is like connected to external show, or like feeling I'm accomplishing something, I have result, I'm going fast forward on the path, and here I am. We were even sharing with a friend recently that like in the beginning we were looking through the stages, no, like another nivriti, nishta, then it's going forward, ruchi. And so like roughly calculating, anartha maybe a few years, and then next few years for the next stage, etc. But it's absolutely not working like that. It is such a deep, like so deep digging, and it is necessary to really, how to say, not become disheartened. So I like very much how this part of Utsahamai is explained here by Dula Chandra. So sorry about the question I've asked Guru Maharaj, like if we figure it out, we do not have the taste, and we don't want to show off anymore because we are like not anymore into it, and so how should we just continue acting the same way, engage ourselves actively in the devotional practices as we used to, like in everything? Because if we do not expose ourselves to this practice, we will not like clean what's necessary to be cleansed. So, and if we're not interested anymore in this external imitation, but we want the real thing, shall we just do the things when we feel something? No? But he said that we should actually continue imitating, because I mean, we as sadhana devotees, we do imitate until we get a real taste, because the imitation is cleansing the anarthas and giving this steadiness after sometimes. So we need to expose ourselves and engage ourselves in all the limbs of the devotional service. Sorry for all the sounds, but everyone is now writing me if it worked, etc. Yeah. So he's explaining also that so upon taking on a new and exciting endeavor, one feels invigorated and enthused by the prospect of enhancing their life. So he's giving example also when somebody is going to fitness or losing weight, etc. One is going to gym, getting all kind of instructional like videos, books, eat certain meals, etc., and then gets this first results. But then after getting the results, it's like very easily one, because stability is not there, one gets losing all the good momentary habits and dropping here and there the good meals and the gym training and so on. So everything, like, because we are accustomed to speedy results because of our prior life experience, we want immediately to get whatever. Like we feel like now we have to attain our spiritual idea, we have a guru, shastra, we have the devotees, and we have some kind of a false confidence. And we cannot really understand the full idea of what means of cleansing the heart. And this is like a millennia of accumulated mental impressions, which are based on fulfillment of material desires. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur also speaks about these impressions and associations we have so deeply rooted, and they're in the subconsciousness, guiding us, and so much for the untrained mind. This is like a very subtle hidden nature, which is bringing us from action to action, from decision to another, and somehow to recognize first how it works and to see it within ourselves, and after to start transforming. This is like very, very deep transformation. I have realized that like Guru Maharaj said recently on this interview he was giving about the Kishore Kishori anniversary. He said, no, that's not, I've been here around, like, and when I came back here, I hit the ground running. So, and one of our devotees was joking here that some of us cannot, not just running, cannot walk, cannot even, when the babies are laying on their, in the first 3 months, they cannot even turn on the side. So, so whenever we see somebody who is really advanced, who like this devotional service is so natural and so like automatic, of course, it means that these people have spent lifetimes of practicing and like slowly removing and transforming all this hidden, subtle internal nature. And now, like, everything is in a completely different way. It's just running, and it, when you see such people, like some advanced devotees, when you see Guru Maharaj, and it feels like, I mean, they're doing it, it's so easy for them. It feels like almost we can do the same. And we were even like calculating that, okay, now it's difficult for me, but maybe if I really push it very hard, like I just, for several years, I don't sleep enough, or I just, let's say, like, just try to push it and go through the whole thing. I feel like I will almost, someday I will open up in the morning my eyes and I will be already there. But it's actually, it takes a very long time. I mean, or let's say, not so long for such a high goal. So this initial stage, it is said that it will show itself depending on the condition of the person who is practicing. But usually one feels like he's really worthy of praise. One feels he's now a learned spiritualist, preacher, exceptional kirtanya, prestigious temple manager, purified brahmana, or realized Brajananandi. I like so much all these descriptions of Dula Chandra Prabhu, because I mean, like all kind of pride, no? Like one can just imagine there, like whatever one likes. And then, of course, the fallen karmis one is like trying to distance oneself and making these black and white filters. And here, one very nice comment is that at this stage, one is very much more advanced to the service than to the one to who one is serving. I also remember, like, because at the beginning, like the service feels so important, like what is given to you, and you become so attached to it, because I felt myself so unstable. and I needed to grab something, and then like the service, because it's like kind of an external practice, like you feel like you do a project, you're like valuable, you're doing something, you're good, and this is everything. And I really can recognize this difference where like, because later on when we had to, you know, in our ex-mission, we had to leave our spiritual master. We had like, everything was broken down into pieces, and like you have to reestablish your whole idea of what devotion and what Krishna consciousness means. This was extremely good, because all this like external like connected to only to your exact current service, which is everything to you, transformed into a much more flexible idea that like the whole point, it doesn't matter what exactly you're doing. If the guru is giving the service, if he is satisfied, if this is coming from this, from above, from an authority which brings down to you direction and instruction, and then you're connected to this current, so this is everything. So as Guru Maharaj says that, like in the beginning, the path is so narrow, and you're like going not very exactly, but then it starts to become like more wide, in a sense that one opens up one's perspective as of devotion, of surrender, of being able to be engaged in service and sadhana. So it is also said that, of course, we really, really need this beginning tender faith, and we need this false enthusiasm. And a very nice comment is that actually the Sankirtan movement of Mahaprabhu was glorified to be able to cleanse the heart of anarthas of both piety and sin, which we have accumulated for like eternity. And everything what we were doing was based on self-centered enjoyment. And this is actually the root of all suffering. So, and for cleansing of the heart, you don't need to make any extraneous endeavors, but just adapting the practices of pure devotional service under the guidance of bona fide spiritual master and the devotees, the sadhu sangha, and the scriptures. So slowly, as the cleansing is going on and more sincere and serious service is coming, one becomes more and more qualified to be able to fully comprehend the true nature of material entanglement, and then develops steadfast practice and navigate through the stages of unsteady devotion. And then the next what is coming after is said to be the natural humility, which is indicative for the steady devotion, because we know that Nishta is, as Guru Maharaj gives in his comment on the Shikshashtaka, that Nishta is connected to this third verse of Shikshashtaka, Trinada Pisuneshana, where tolerance and humility and lack of desire, self-glorification, and giving all glory to the others is three basic qualities one develops. Here also, it's interesting to speak about, because Mahaprabhu glorifies his Sankirtan movement as removing both piety and sin, because often we tend to imagine, like we project on the spirituality also our understanding of material goodness, like what is good, what is bad. Also, like we expect our guru or the devotees to behave like in a good material understanding. We could see, I mean, somehow last year, I guess it was at least here in with the devotees I have talked, how much the situation we had in our mission, how much it brought this idea of what actually I understand as spirituality, because I have certain my own idea of what is good and bad, and I start projecting this on my guru, on the devotees, and how they are supposed to behave. And spirituality really needs to come from above, because it has nothing to do even with the material goodness. So, and we often tend to imagine that. We also, from the Christian background, we also know this, like very much it is there, given this idea of goodness in material external way, but of course also the spiritual point. So we can understand how above, how more subtle spirituality is, and we just need to follow. So the second stage, which is given on the path of unstable bhajan or practice, it gives after this productive and inattentive service. It's called ghanatara. Like sometimes it's like working, sometimes it's thick, sometimes it's thin, because it's the flickering mind, it's unsteadiness. And mind has this function we know: accepts, rejects, and we just sometimes we feel that the scriptural purports are very easily understood. Sometimes we absolutely cannot enter and accept and understand the spiritual message. Same with the japa. Sometimes we're very attentive. At times, mind is super stubborn. We cannot concentrate at all. And same with lectures. No? Sometimes we have experienced like our attention is more focused, and sometimes it just cannot work. So all this is coming because of like still our mind dictates. So this unsteadiness is something which we will experience on this second stage. So, and because of this, exactly here, it feels sometimes these obstacles are unsurmountable, that we absolutely cannot, we feel so weak to overcome this passion and ignorance, and we just feel submerged in all suffering, and that all salvation is lost. I mean, because initially feel, oh, I'm like I'm getting something, I'm getting result, I'm doing change, I'm good. But when we actually see that we want to get some real substantial like advancement, we see that we're very weak now. Sometimes it goes, sometimes no. So here there are two quotes of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is supporting us and saving us. So in 240 he's saying, in the practice of this dharma, no effort is wasted, nor is one's progress ever diminished. Even the slightest practice of this discipline protects one from great danger. And the other one, O son of Pritha, neither here in this world nor in the next is he, my devotee, vanquished. Anyone who is sincere, my dear friend, walks not the road of misfortune. 640. So we just have to continue. It is said that slowly the passion and ignorance recedes, then minds can get some spiritual composure, and this is mainly happening under the good guidance. And then it's very important, if we drop this at some point, if we lose this, because it's a period now, it stops, then the so-called bad one starts. So in this time, we should just accept that this is a natural stage. because otherwise a person can just leave it and become completely disheartened. It is said that if we continue to engage our mind to do the practice, to follow the guidance, like the mind will gradually become more obedient, and these big waves we get, like it will get like less and less. So the third stage is said that it's called Vyuda Vikalpa, this parading possibilities. And this is very much connected to the idea that often the devotees expect to, they read a lot in the beginning about, renunciation, brahmacharya, all this kind of tyagi idea where you renounce and all kind of regulation. But and then when this comes, one starts thinking, oh, like it said, like the monk can think of marriage life, and the married one think of renouncing everything. Then one can even jump to uproot everything, one's position, and just go to the other end of the world, or just change totally the scenario, thinking that this will help me. Like it's also coming from the mind, trying to change, to get something. So here it's very important, it is said, to follow what Guru is saying, because he will give us, according to our individuality, what exactly to follow. But there is a comment that here there is a quote. Krishna says to Uddhava, for a devotee engaged in bhakti with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not beneficial for bhakti. Devotion should not be caused by renunciation, but renunciation should be caused by devotion. So in modern life, of course, this is like different. Like we think of usually, shall I work a lot and then let's say donate to my guru, or I shall like diminish my work and then engage more into other type of service? Shall I study? Shall I marry, raise my children, and so on? So that's why Guru Maharaj is giving us always this idea of, depending on our individuality, we have to try to establish, horizontally some stability, which will give us the opportunity to go deep. And here in this stage, we might think a lot of many options and how to advance more fast, what would be better. But one has to become stable. No? This is one of the most important things, to be able to actually concentrate and to deepen one's practice. So here, Dula Chandra Prabhu has given, I liked very much a comparison that the advancing bhakta has to remain equipoised. So on one side, on one hand, he has to understand that spiritual advancement is taking so long, and he's fully confident that mercy is coming. And then it won't take so long. So these are the two hands raised. Like one hand is it takes long because it's such a high ideal, but it doesn't take so long because of the mercy. And so on both sides like this, we are fortified with some realistic expectations, and then we can enthusiastically dance with these both hands raised. And this is how one is calling the progress, without being overwhelmed with the mental stages of this Anishta Bhajana Kriya, because knowing in reality that it takes time, but same time that it's such a merciful process. And the fourth stage is battle with the senses. So, of course, it's given that all this like truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, mercy are helping in our sadhana. So everyone will get his own ways how to practice. But it is said also that like there is a quote from Bhagavad Gita 259 that although one may refrain from material enjoyment by following scriptural dictates or in pursuit of yogic regulation, desire for sensual pleasure will not abate. But upon experiencing extreme bliss of association with the Supreme, attraction to mundane enjoyment will dissipate and one will become firmly fixed in spiritual consciousness. Here there is a comment of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is saying that the idea of remaining aloof from sense gratification by means of fasting and other austerities, as is found in the scriptures, is a foolish proposal. So he's explaining also that strict regulations of the yogi, as intended for the less intelligent, it's not for the devotees, because devotees are actually cultivating attachment to the Lord. So because they cultivate this attachment, they realize that this is the true pleasure and they become detached from the mundane desires. I wanted just to shortly share that after meeting Guru Maharaj in Madhvan and getting my initiation, I felt so enthusiastic because I guess because when you have your first experience, it is like one of the most powerful, and it's of course giving this merciful extra injection into one's spiritual life. So because of the association with him, I really felt for a few months that like I felt like some stages are behind me or something. And but the idea is that this the sadhu sangha, the association is really so powerful that it gives you a glimpse. It gives you even if it's a demo version of what is supposed to be someday in the future. Just to having a glimpse of it, a small taste of it, it becomes so attractive that then it can really help you to go forward for like lifetimes. And I have noticed that Krishna has given me first this like demo version of what it could be, and then after that giving me the panorama, bringing me back where I am. So these two things which Guru Maharaj is saying, like you need to know where you have to get, no, on the map, and you need to know where you are to be able to have the roadmap. And these two things are important for some success. But the idea here is that really like this superficial way of approaching spiritual life diminishes now when you see the real thing, the real taste, how a real devotee is practicing it. And then you go back to the fight with your sense enjoyment. But there is some from Bhagavatam, from 11th canto. There is a quote which in this on this stage deeply touched me. It is Bhagavatam 11, 20, 27, 28. It is said, having developed faith in topics about me and being disgusted with all karmas, a devotee knows that all enjoyments are filled with misery, but he is unable to give them up. Still, with affection for me, with faith and determination, he will continue worshipping me, while at the same time partaking of those enjoyments which give rise to suffering, and yet condemning them. For me, this was like reading my thoughts, because it is so painful to actually continue partaking in those enjoyments, which gives you suffering, and you know this so well, and you have done this like millions of times, and still like you're like, I don't know, like a zombie continuing doing it and not being able to stop. And this is so painful process. And I mean, because they say no, that ignorance is bliss, it's because like when you don't know what you're doing and that's the only thing you know, you're somehow like more blissful in a way. But once you already know, it becomes like a real painful process. So it's like some addiction, no? You suffer extremely, still you cannot stop. And you have read this thousands of times in the scriptures. You have in front of you the examples of devotees. So this reality becomes so painful, but at the same time, it is so nicely described here in the 11th canto that Krishna is saying that the devotee have developed faith in the topics about him, and he is disgusted with the karma. So although he cannot stop it, he knows this is misery, unable to give up, but some affection starts there, no? Towards Krishna. He has faith, he has determination, he continues and worships Krishna. So this is like the process, that's how it works. And knowing this, we will not become disheartened. This is like really, really so enthusing. So it is also, the Lajchandra Prabhu is saying that we should be very careful not to judge our advancement, like to be too hypercritical, and also to the others, only by a bit of strictly following external regulations. It's very important, you know, like we cannot imagine this type of moral, devotional moral, which we have to apply. We don't have like access to what the other's motivation is. So it is very, very important just to concentrate to please the Guru through the service, and just to try to attract the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And this is what it's important, not to judge, not to try to measure, and just to see externally the thing. So it is said so that we will every day want to chant, like, go with determination. We want to chant a little more, do more service, do this, that. But at the end of the day, the night has arrived, and we again recognize that we did not fulfill what we were planning to. But not maintaining the vows because of this anxiety, like this weakness can bring in anxiety. That's why we have to really be very careful of our devotional enthusiasm. We have to try to apply common sense, and also not to become disheartened. And then like slowly we have to expect improvement. So as an end, I would like to say that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is explaining his Madhurya Kadambini, because of course this is all taken from his book, explaining all these mentalities of unsteadiness, is giving us first all the symptoms, not like the disease, but also this is stages of advancement. And also we can see all these materialistic mentalities inside of ourselves, which is also very good to be able to see. That's why I have chosen this topic, because for me to see the sickness or like the symptoms of unhealthiness is like half the way, so to say. You have to know with what you're struggling. And also when you're really good informed how to remove the anartha, you can actually escape aparat to the holy name, and also this can really bring advancement. So here, steadiness and determination is the qualities we will try to get more involved into, to be able somehow to reach Nishta. And if we somehow overcome these big waves of these first unsteady stages, like slowly these impediments, they become weaker, and our desire becomes bigger. So just say no, in the Nishta, this what was a bitter medicine becomes nurturing, it becomes the food. So this is our goal, that now the medicine feels very bitter, but slowly it will adapt and it will become food for us. If there's any comment or question or any discussion one wants to. Shraddha is writing here. Thank you for an important class which gives realistic perspective on spiritual progress and humility, giving verses from the Bhagavad Gita and Uddhava Gitas in our masters, which helps us not to lose heart. This helps to give some balance for our life of bhajan. It was encouraging to hear from Guru Maharaj that our journey to get to service of the Guru is much longer than the journey after that. Yeah, I remember also from the last one. No? It is Vishnu Jana Swami quote he was quoting, like the path we have passed so far is much longer if we turn back than what's left. He also talks about learning more about the right perspective of sadhana only as we experience. It takes patience, but the pain and struggle is meant to be beautiful in itself, in a life of loving exchange. Thank you for your suggestion, Jai Shri Radha. Very beautiful. Thank you. Very beautiful comment. That pain and struggle is meant to be beautiful in itself. And the patience. Yeah. Yeah, this is like, yeah, thank you so much. It's connecting very much to what I was also like impressed by the Prabhu's presentation. I didn't go through the very last only stage because first, not to make it too long. The other thing is I absolutely don't feel I couldn't comment on it because it's much higher stage for me, which is like that you become such a reservoir of attraction of bhakti for everyone that there you can feed on the weeds of pride and like starting enjoying these subtle things. But I really couldn't comment on that. So I'm here, Madam Gopal. Thank you, Prabhuji. I like this. I love these descriptions of stages because it's like spiritual psychology and encourages us that these stages are normal and to be expected. Yes, I also liked so much this, exactly, it is expected, no, this idea, and this is normal. But not only that, he's also commenting that on top of being expected and normal, they're needed. They're like, actually, this is the advancement. It's not, no, it's not a failure where you just fail to do this, you're unsteady, you're immature. But you have to go through in order to advance. So it's not just normal, like considering normal failure, but this is the advancement on the stage. Like you have to go through it, you have to step to go forward. And the struggle, no, is the struggle in itself, as you said, which is beautiful, is giving you this this change, this internal change, and also, although it's bitter now, like not being able to drop, especially the material part, but still the idea that you're still attracted somehow. Somehow you're on the path. I myself, after the years I have passed, I just consider, like, when I see a devotee, for me it's a miracle that for whoever on the path. For me, it's a miracle that I'm still on the path. And it's amazing that somebody's on the path. Like, knowing how difficult it is now, I appreciate every small effort of a person. And I'm amazed how it's possible in the kingdom of Maya to see a devotee. I heard, like, long time ago, a comment that a devotee asked his guru, Guru Maharaj, or Prabhupada maybe was asked, why there's so much Maya in the temples of Krishna, no, in the devotees' temples. He said, I would ask how there are so many temples in the kingdom of Maya. Like, this is the miracle. This is like, we're in her kingdom. So to see such things, it's a real miracle, actually. I remember this, it's like stayed with me. And at that time I couldn't understand it. Now I can really connect to that. Thank you so much for your association and for the nice comments. Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, devotee sadhu sangha ki jai. Hari Bol. Thank you.